Peryava. He has conceptualized and narrated multiple classical dance productions, including Agre Pashyami, Ramanuja Darshana, Srinivasam Prapadye, and Aranganin Padayil, blending literature, philosophy, and performance art into powerful cultural expressions. As the founder of the charitable trust Deshika Daya, Sri Dushyanth has facilitated and contributed more than 9 crore towards temple projects and cultural preservation. Over the last decade, he has organized 35 plus heritage yatras to 200 plus temples and thousands of devotees, creating immersive experiences of pilgrimage and devotion. Hopefully, Prambanan Jakarta is also going to be on that list soon. His scholarship spans revered texts including Sri Bhashyam, Gita Bhashyam, Rahasya Traya Saram, and Bhagavad Vishaya, under the guidance of eminent acharyas, making him a sought-after teacher and exponent in both India and abroad. Widely honored with 13 titles and 12 national awards, including Pravachana Vachaspati, Sarvakala Chudamani, Harikatha Bharati, and Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati National Eminence Award, Sri Dushyanth Sridhar stands at the confluence of tradition and modernity. Whether through his discourses, writings, films, or cultural initiatives, he continues to inspire as a modern-day messenger of peace and devotion, providing the eternal truths of Sanatana Dharma are as relevant today as they were millennia ago. So without further ado, we'll hand it over to Sri Dushyanth.
जात चतुर्वेद स्वरूपिणीं शृंगारकाम रामानुज दयापात्रं ज्ञानवैराग्यभूषणं श्रीमद्वेङ्कटनाथार्यं वन्दे वेदान्तदेशिकं लक्ष्मीनाथसमारम्भां नाथयामुनमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां यो नित्यमच्युतपदाम्बुजयुग्मरुग्मव्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्ध्ना भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसार कुलशेखर योगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणु परकाल यतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम् पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवतां नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणि नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दुग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीः भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी karnena velakula ashwathama vikarna ghora makara duryodhana vartini sottirna khalu pandavai rananadi kaivartakaha keshavaha mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham vande paramananda madhavam. Namassadase namassabhaye. With the abundant blessings of Paramatma Shriyavpati, we have gathered on yet another evening, a beautiful Sunday evening, in the Rajadhani Kshetram of this archipelago nation of Indonesia. This is the 4th time in the last 10 years that the Astikas have invited me to this beautiful Rajadhani. Something that comes to my mind when I speak about the country, Sthalavailaksanyam, the greatness of this land, is some parts of it find mention in the Kishkindha Kandam of Srimad Ramayana. When Rama and Lakshmana are on a journey, a sojourn to come in search of Sita, from Maharashtra Pradesham, they enter Karnataka Pradesham. Maharashtra and Karnataka, the word Maharashtra finds mention in the commentary to the Ramayana. Maharashtra Deshe Vartanam, says Maheshwara Tirtha. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we have this verse, Utpanna Dravide Saham Vriddham Karnatake Gata Kvachit Kvachin Maharashtre Gurjare Jirnatam Gata. It's a beautiful shlokam in Bhagavatam. So when Rama enters Karnataka Pradesha, Karneshu Atati iti Karnataka, that region that was filled with poets and dramatists, people who were experts in literature, and while they would recite verses of the poetry and the drama, it seems that Mahalakshmi would find it so very interesting and melodious to hear. So, in acknowledgement to what she's hearing, Mahalakshmi would shake her head. And as she shook, so would her earrings also dangle along. Since the region made the earrings of Mahalakshmi dangle, Karneshu Atati, it is called Karnataka. So that's why the state got its name. And then we have a suffix called Karnataka. So that's a suffix. Alparthe kaf pratyayaha is the rule in Sanskritam. So that's called Karnataka. Now, while Rama and Lakshmana entered Kishkindha Pradesham, which is the current Hampi region of Karnataka, that is when there is an MOU signed with Sugriva. Sita Kapindraha Kshanadacharanam Rajiva Hemojvalanopamani Sugriva Rama Pranaya Prasange Vamani Netrani Samam Sphuranti, says Valmiki. Because Rama's only existing wife was abducted. On the other hand, Sugriva was excommunicated by his own brother Vali. And while he excommunicated his brother, he held his younger brother Sugriva's wife in his custody. Her name was Ruma. So both of them had the same problem. Their respective wives were missing. So that is when the understanding was, Rama said, I will help you while you fight your brother and thereby rescue your wife. You need to supply me with your army, however equipped or less equipped they are, to fight Ravana. So this was the understanding. And while this understanding happened in Kishkindha Kandam, Rama was able to help Sugriva vanquish his brother Vali, and the region, the kingdom came in the hands of Sugriva. Sugriva had the Pattabhishekam done. While this happened on one side, now Rama said it's time for you, because it was Chaturmasyam, 4 months of rainy season. See, we need to understand, we cannot extrapolate all our understanding of seasons to the entire country. Western Ghats received a lot more rainfall, so it was called Chaturmasyam, 4 months of continuous rainfall. Whereas Western Ghats of Bharatadesha does not have deciduous region. It will not shed its leaves. So essentially there is no technically a season called as autumn in Western Ghats. Whereas when you go to the US, you will have a season itself called the fall, where leaves change color and finally the trees are bereft of the leaves and then they will just be branches and trunks. But that won't happen in the Western region. 4 months of continuous rainfall, and Sugriva pleaded to Rama that I wouldn't be able to send the Vanaras in search of Sita. They will catch a bad sinus. It's Chaturmasim, so they wouldn't be able to go. And Rama was extremely sensitive to this plea, and he said, that's fine. After the 4 months, Rama sends Lakshmana to go and give this man a summon. If he has promised something, he has to deliver. Go tell him that. And then Lakshmana, who was the angry young man, would go and then give a gentle reminder to Sugriva. And Sugriva got the message, and he called the chiefs of the 4 directions and said, each of you has to go in this direction. While the team had to go eastwards, he says, you can either choose the water or the land. Yavadvipanam iti, he says, go to an island which is called Yava. In the Vedic literature, 40-50 years back, in the beautiful city of Sri Kanchipuram, there lived a great Acharya called Paramacharya, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. He conducted a huge sadas by inviting scholars from Uttara Bharatam and Dakshina Bharatam. And he said, all of you recite the Vedas together. The conclusion was, everything was quite the same, but for a few portions, certain portions where there were words like Yasmai, says Yajurvedam. People from Uttara Bharatam used to say Jasmai. Because in Uttara Bharatam, some of the dialects replace Ya with Ja. Dhira samire yamuna tire, dhira samire. Yamuna tire is the Sanskrita Uchcharana. There is a bhajan. Jamuna kinare nyare. So Yamuna is Jamuna. So Paramacharya gave this example and said, that is why Yasmai becomes Jasmai. So in the Valmiki Ramayana and Kishkindha Kandam, he says when you go eastward, you will be going to an island called Yavadvipam. Replace Ya with Ja, Javadvipam. Then he says beyond Java, you will find an island where there were short people called Valakilyas. Vedanta Deshika says, Manuranugada Vakshivatras Purattarakas Chitrabhanu Priya Shekharastrayatam Nastri Vargapa Vargaf Prasutif Parabhyomadamat Valadveshi Darpa Jvalad Valakhilya Pratignyavatir Nastiram Tattva Buddhim Param Bhakti Derum Jaganmula Kande Mukunde Mahananda Dogdri Ahinantaka, he says. So he mentions of a cluster of people who were extremely dwarf in nature. They were called Valakilyas. They were referred to as the early hobbits of the Flores Island in Indonesia. Then he says when you go further east of Indonesia, crossing Papua New Guinea, he says there is a particular place, Sugriva says, hey Vanaras, there when you go, while the people there are looking at the sun and offering Argyam in the afternoon, it will be morning here. So he talks about roughly a 6-hour time gap. So that line has to pass through the Fiji Islands. So there is a general understanding of the geography, and I'm so happy to be speaking in that archipelago nation that finds a mention in the Ramayana. That said, the topic has been a connection, this prologue has been a connection to what was spoken yesterday of Hanuman Chalisa to Bhagavad Gita. We are traversing 2 different beautiful avatars. In Sri Mahabharatam, which is 3.5 times the size of Iliad and Odyssey put together, and 2.5 times the size of Paradise Lost and Gained put together. It has 1 lakh Sapada Lakshak Grantham, it is called. If you include Harivamsha, it comes to close 125,000 verses. and you had a Vaishnava Acharya in Kanchipuram till about 40 years back who knew all the 1,25,000 shlokas by heart. So, so we have had such human beings, and even before Grok 4 could throw the results, you would have that. That said, in Sri Mahabharatam, we come across Pancharatnaha. There are 5 Ratnas. One is a conversation, of course, between the famed Yaksha who asks 124 questions to Yudhishthira. Why? The purpose was to drink 100 ml of water. So to drink water, this man had to answer 124 questions and he couldn't afford to get any answer wrong. So that was Yaksha Prashnam. Followed by Yaksha Prashnam is a conversation that happens between Dhritarashtra and Vidura. This is called Vidura Niti. Then there is a conversation that happens which is called Sanat Sujatiyam. There's another. Parthaya. Is this better? Yeah. So there is this third Ratnam called as Sanat Sujatiyam. Fourth is a conversation that happens between Arjuna and Krishna, which is called as Bhagavad Gita. The fifth is a conversation that happens between Yudhishthira and Bhishma, called Vishnu Sahasranamam. He asks 6 questions. Kimekam Devatam Loke, Kimvapyekam Parayanam, Stuvantakam Kamarchantaha, Prapnayur Manavaha Shubham, Kodharmas Sarva Dharmanam, Bhavatah Paramomataha, Kim Japan Muchyate Jantur Janma Samsara Bandhanat. So that is a compendium of 1,000 names that Bhishmacharya gives, which is called as Vishnu Sahasranamam. So this is called as Panchamaharatnam in Sri Mahabharata. Combining the fourth and the fifth, Bhagavad Pada says in Mohamudgaram, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dhyeyam Shripati Rupam Ajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dina Janaya Chavitam Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrim Karane Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. So, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram, Bhagavad Pada speaks about Bhagavad Gita and Vishnu Nama Sahasram. So, in Sri Mahabharatam, which is one of the very important, large itihasas, there are 5 Ratnams, and the penultimate one is a conversation called as Bhagavad Gita. In Srimad Ramayanam, when Dasharatha decides to appoint Rama as the heir apparent, the Yuvaraja, he goes and seeks the views of his ministers and Purohitas. He asks them, does my son possess the required skills to be the heir apparent? They give a long laundry list of all qualities Rama has. One of the qualities is Gandharva Vidyaha Sarvesho. He was very good in music, Rama. That will be surprising to us because we would have never seen Rama either sing or play any instrument. Why? Because he's one of those family members of ours, they'll be very good in music. You ask them to sing, they'll say, I'm just out of practice. I just can't. So he's one of those members. Krishna was absolutely, if somebody, he wouldn't even wait for people to ask him to sing. He was very forthcoming. So in Sri Rama Avataram, we come across Rama as the one who's extremely adept in music, but he never showcased that. In Krishna Avataram, he took up to music. So, generally in Bharata Desham, we have two very ancient forms, paramparas. One is the Hindustani Sangeeta Parampara. The second one is the Karnataka Sangeeta Shastra Parampara. So in the Karnataka Sangeeta, you go with the Swaragyanam, where you say Shadjam, Rishabam, Gandharam, Madhyamam. So you take Maya Malava Gauda as the base raga. Then you multiply them, then it becomes Jhanta. Sasari, sasari, sari, sasari, riga, gama, riga, 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 gama, papa. Then you touch the upper notes. It's called male tat. So male sthai. Then you go understanding the rhythms. It's called alankaram. Then after that you get introduced to Geetam. Lambodara lakumikara. So that heralds your music parampara. So Krishna also underwent the training. But his teacher said, my dear son, I advise you, shift to a musical instrument. She said, let's save the years. Now Krishna felt really, really bad that, somebody is telling, I will play the instrument, why should I not sing? He was just waiting for a mic to come his way. And that came on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He got the mic. And then he thought, let me show all my singing skills. And that's when the song of the Lord was born, called as Bhagavad Gita. See, Aurobindo says, it is the song of the Lord. He did not speak, he sang. We generally have one tune for Bhagavad Gita. Mattaf parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mayi sarvamidam proktam sutre manigana iva iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Jnana Yogo Nama Sankhya Yogo Nama Dviti Yodhyaya. This is our standard tune. In Chinmaya Mission, every year they'll give one syllabus. Like engineering semester, we learn, we'll go, read and forget. Engineering is also like that. The moment you write your exam, you can forget. That is why our constructed bridges fall. So, now, what we learn in Sangeeta Shastram is to have a melody. So Krishna must have ideally sung Chaturvida bhajante mam janaha sukritino Arjunaha Artaha jignasuratharthi jnani cha bharatarshabha. He must have sung. But there's nothing so surprising. Yes, he has sung, so what? But where? On the battlefield. See, all this is happening when they're all like 1, 2, 3 and shoot. And this man goes to Hamsanada Ragam, Yaman Kalyan, Jonpuri, and he's singing. So Bhagavad Gita, one of the most revered, very respected, in fact adored scripture in Sanatana Dharma, Hindu Matam, was born on the battlefield. That said, Srimad Bhagavad Gita has roughly 700 shlokas. This is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. But the beauty is, of course, in Sanatana Dharma, this is a Kalakshepa Grantha. Kalakshepa Grantha means where you learn this from an Acharya, the intricate meanings as well. Way back in the year 2009, 10, 11 and 12. I had the Saubhagyam to undergo the nuanced learning of Bhagavad Gita under a great Acharya called Srivatsanka Acharya of Chennai. He was the erstwhile principal of the Sanskrit college. He is a Mahamahopadhyaya, the highest title earned in Sanskrita. So I learned under him. But after that, most of my lectures have either been centered around the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam or Vishnu Purana. Very rarely I take up to Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is just not to be spoken or preached. It has to be lived. You can always give 3-4 hours of lecture, but if we are not living by Bhagavad Gita, then it's a waste. So it's generally a grantha that is very intriguing, that makes you internalize and contemplate. So I've always been very wary of taking up to this grantham, but Jakarta has said you have to speak on Bhagavad Gita. We are all a lot of elevated Atma, Jivatmas here. So whether you are elevated or not, you are talking to elevated Atmas. So I said, okay, fine. Now, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we need to understand the context in which it was recited. We generally hear, when do we see a Nitish Bharadwaj stand? Right? When I say Krishna, you remember of him. If you are from the Telugu land, N.T. Ramarao Garu, right? He will stand up. Or they will all stand and then there will be questions. He will throw all his weapons down and then there will be a Chin Mudra. The Upadesha goes on. But why? Evam Nyatvapi, says Bhagavad Ramanuja. There's a beautiful context here. In Sri Mahabharatam, we have 18 parvas. For us, for easier understanding, 18 chapters. The first parva is called Adi Parva. The second is called as Sabha Parva. Third is Vana Parva. Fourth is Virata Parva. Fifth is Udyoga Parva. Sixth is Bhishma Parva. So in this Udyoga Parva is when they are all ready to fight each other. They all get their ammunition, all the necessary army ready. Krishna tries to be a messenger of peace. He says, I will go speak, because if I don't speak for peace and we just keep fighting, then media will later tell that Krishna is warmongering. So I will arrange for a summit, let both the parties come, let me talk. Though he didn't aspire for any global award. So he said, I'm speaking from the Mahabharata. So he said, well, and that is when he left Kampilya. Kampilya is the capital of that Panchala Pradesha that was under Drupada. The other half was given to Drona. I'm not getting into the flashback. If you go to YouTube and check my lectures, I would have given detailed lectures on Mahabharata. So, Pandavas and Draupadi. Draupadi was called Yajnaseni. She was also called Krishna. In most places, she is referred to as Krishna. The other one is Krishna. So it's a very technical differentiation you have to do. Krishna, Nakaram is Krishna, which is Vasudeva. Krishna means Draupadi. So if you say Krishna, come here, then Draupadi will come. So these are the names. Now, Krishna said, I will be the messenger, and Krishna goes as a messenger to the Kauravas, Dhartarashtras. But nothing succeeds. Duryodhana says, nothing doing, you go back. Now, war preparations have to be done. That is when Shakuni, very intelligent person, if you read the original Mahabharata, you will start one Facebook page for Shakuni. Very smart person, but very crooked man. He didn't use his intelligence for the right purpose. So this Shakuni tries to bring a lot of people on his side. What he intelligently does is, he brings the maternal uncle of Nakula Sahadeva called Shalya to their side. He serves them food with masked faces. So poor man, the entire army did not know who these masked people were. They thought they were remnants of COVID. They are serving food. So towards the end, they recognize that this is Duryodhana, because prior to the Yuddham, if you consume food of a certain party, you can never fight against them. This was in Article 54F. So this man knew it and he took Shalya on their side. While this was happening, he said, you go ask your Sambandhi of this. See, Krishna and Jambavati's son, Samba, was married to Duryodhana's daughter. So Duryodhana and Krishna were Sambandhis. So Shakuni said, exercise this right and go get his help. That is when Duryodhana comes to Dwaraka, and Krishna's father was Vasudeva. Vasudeva's sister was Pritha, who was given in adoption to Kunti Bhoja, so she was called Kunti. Kunti was sister to Krishna's father. So Arjuna, Yudhishthira and Bhima were maternal aunt sons. Krishna's sister called Bhadra. Her name was Bhadra. Since she was a good Bhadra, she was called Subhadra. Bhadram Ivava Rajam, says Narayana Bhattatri. Subhadra was additionally married to Arjuna. So Arjuna was both a cousin and the son-in-law. So then he said, you also go. Now when Krishna had Dokla, Fafda, Handvi, Thepla, Chunda, because he is in Dwaraka. So after having such a sumptuous, delicious food when he was on a siesta, power nap, that time Duryodhana came and sat near his head. You know that famous incident. Then later Arjuna came, sat near his feet. Krishna got up and said, Kemcho, how are you, Arjun? Then Action King Arjun said, Pehle Yudhishthir ji aaye the. Then he said, hello Yudhishthir, how are you? Sorry, Duryodhana, how are you, Duryodhana? How will Duryodhana be? So Duryodhana said, I came first. Okay, fine. What do you want? I want your help. What help? Do something for our Yuddham. Krishna said, on one side is my entire army called Narayani. On the other side, I am there. You can choose between the two. When Duryodhana said, I will choose, Krishna said, no, as per Dharma Shastram, you have to give the younger one the first choice. So he said, Arjun, you choose. Arjuna said, hands down, I want you. Then Duryodhana said, thank God. I wanted the entire army. And he said, I will take the army. And he went back all the way to Hastinapura and told his uncle, his maternal uncle, that is Shakuni. Shakuni, Mama, I've got the entire army. Shakuni asked, which side is Krishna fighting? He said, their side. Fool. What will you do with that army? All the control systems is with him. He will know the software. Right? You go tell him, come this side. No, he goes and he says, Krishna, you can be on Arjuna's side, but you cannot fight. You should not use a weapon. See, this is a very tricky thing, right? You go to Kargil. What you should do, you should just listen there. You should not. You should be seated. You cannot use weapon. Listen to Bhagavad Gita. See, if you're a surgeon and you can't use your instruments, if you're a warrior, you can't fight with your weapons, what use? Krishna said, okay, I will not use my weapons. In engineering, third year, there will be a course called optimization, where you'll be given constraints and you have to optimize. If some of you are engineers, any engineers here? My deepest condolences. So there is one course called as optimization. So Krishna said, I will not use a weapon. Then what purpose will I serve? That is when he said, Arjuna, send your regular driver on casually. Send him away. I will do the role of the driver. So a driver doesn't need weapons. So Krishna became the Sarathi to Arjuna. This is the norm. Now after this was done, Krishna, who was in Dwaraka, this is a very important incident, generally not known to the public, even B.R. Chopra has not shown them. So you can take note of this. This comes in Udyoga Parva. Dhritarashtra was of the opinion, see, as a good father, what he should have done, he should have called his son and advised. But he's never a good father. So what he did was, he asked his confidant, called as Sanjaya. Sanjay, आओ इधर. Yes, Raja ji, क्या करना चाहिए? तुम द्वारिका जाओ. What should I do after going to Dwarika? You go and bribe Krishna. This comes in Udyoga Parva. You give whatever he wants. Whatever he likes, we'll supply. Whichever route, we will give. So Sanjaya goes. Now Krishna was Sarvagya. He knew that this man is coming. Gatva Sandipani Mathi Ada Chatusashti Ratri Mahovihi Sarvagyastvam Sahamusalina Sarvavidya Grihitva Putram Nashtam Yamanilayanat Akhritam Dakshinartam Datva Tasmai Nijapuramaga Nadayan Panchajanyam, says Bhattatri. Sarvagyaswam, he knew everything. Is that a possibility, sir? How can one know everything? I'll give you an example from the great Paramacharya's life of Sri Kanchi, Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. Roughly in around 1915 or 1916, when Paramacharya was just about 9 years or 10 years, around that time. He was a very Bala Sannyasi. After coming to the Pitham, after becoming a Pithadipati, he had to learn the Shastras. So he was taken to a remote village by the banks of Kaveri in Dakshina Bharatam called as Mahendra Mangalam. In that little village, a little Parnashala was set up and he used to learn. The person who used to come and teach him the nuances of Veda Bhashyam was 80 years and the student was 9 years, 10 years. But you had to respect the student because the student is a sannyasi. So the teacher, 80-year-old teacher used to come to teach this young boy. And this young boy used to take small sticks and used to be playing on the sands of Kaveri. The teacher got very offended because I am teaching you a serious topic like Veda Bhashyam and you seem to be playing. I can neither admonish him or reprimand him. So he fell at his feet. The teacher fell at the student's feet and said, "You are a Pithadipati, but please forgive me, I can't teach you anymore. Because you seem to be very playful while I teach." That time Paramacharya as a little boy asked, "You have taught me good amount of portions. What is left?" He said, "There is one Bhagam of Taittiriya Upanishad that I have to teach you, another Bhagam of Kena Upanishad that I have to teach you." Paramacharya said, "I will tell you the meaning of the remaining portions," and he told the entire meaning of whatever was to be taught. Then the Acharya again fell at his feet and then he asked, "Why are you falling at my feet now? Earlier I fell stating that I can't teach you anymore. Now I am falling at your feet because there is nothing left to teach you." Sarvajnastvam sahamusalina sarvavidya grihitva. Krishna knew that he was coming. When Krishna knew he was coming, what did he do in Udyoga Parva? Krishna did something very unique. This comes in Udyoga Parva. You can fact check like Rajdeep. You can go check it. It is there. Even the chat GPT will tell you. In Udyoga Parva, Krishna is in Dwaraka. In the afternoon, he had told his receptionist in the morning, "Kisi ko andar mat bhejo. I am at rest." So whoever came, the receptionist would say, "No, you just can't meet Krishna. He's busy. He'll come tomorrow." So they all went back. But finally, when Sanjaya came, because Sanjaya has to come all the way from Uttar Pradesh, he has to come to Gujarat, then he has to go off coast. So he reached. When Sanjaya reached, the receptionist said, "You won't be able to meet." Sanjaya said, "Please refer my name. You just say Sanjay. Let's see." Krishna said, "Oh, Sanjay has come. Allow him." So Sanjay had to go. Now what Krishna does is something very unique. He is sleeping on his bed, a very luxurious, a very, very comfortable bed. He is sleeping and he extends his legs and places them on the thighs of Arjuna. So Arjuna is also sleeping on the bed, but in the direction perpendicular to Krishna. So you have to imagine this scene now. So Krishna is sleeping, perpendicular to him is Arjuna. Krishna's feet are on Arjuna's lap. Arjuna's one foot is on the thigh of Satyabhama. The other foot is on the thigh of Draupadi. They are seated. This is the scene. Now Krishna made all these arrangements. Arjuna said, "Ye kya hai? Why are you asking us to sit like this? This is a very odd posture. Keep quiet and sleep." So Draupadi said, "What is this, Krishna? Shh, no questions." Now you ask Sanjaya to come. Sanjaya came. Why did he come? Because Dhritarashtra had said, "Bribe Krishna." Sanjaya came. He saw. And Krishna said, "You have something to say?" "Nothing. Thank you." And he went away. He went all the way to Hastinapura. No, this man was anxious. Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya, what did you speak to Krishna? What did Krishna say? Sanjaya had one line. It comes in Udyoga Parva. "On the bed, I saw all your 100 sons dead." This was his answer. Why? See, imagine a typical house, our houses. You will be very close to certain people. You call them friends, you call them like brothers, like sisters. However close they are, very rarely you would let them inside your bedroom. Only a person whom you trust more than yourself would you let them inside your bedroom. If Krishna has made Arjuna sit on his bed, with one leg on Draupadi and the other leg on Satyabhama, he must be treating Arjuna as his very Atma. When Krishna and Arjuna are together, there is nothing but victory there. So that is why Sanjaya said, I saw your 100 sons dead. Despite knowing Krishna's abilities, Krishna's strength, Krishna's valor, Arjuna's prowess, and what Sanjaya had seen on the bed, yet again Dhritarashtra asks, Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya. The first shloka. Despite knowing, that is why I told you 12.5 minutes back. Evam nyatvapi, despite knowing the outcome of the yuddham that is to happen, he asked. What did he ask? Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya. Sanjay, tell me. Sanjay asked, what should I tell you? Kim akurvata, what are they doing? Who is that they? Mamakaha, my children. And Pandavaschaiva, Pandu's sons. If you go to everybody today, some of the youngsters will come and ask me, sir, I wish to know more about Hinduism. I'm quite interested. Where should I begin? See, start with the Ramayana, then go to Mahabharata, learn Bhagavatam. But no, sir, I would like to begin with the Gita. Gita is like PhD, Ramayana is like elementary school. This is our understanding, right? If you say you've been reading the Gita, you're there. You're like Devi Vishwakumar of Never Have I Ever. You're there. Right? So that's, and it has to come with an accent, right? It won't serve the purpose because there is no gradation in our Shastras. There's nothing like Ramayana is elementary school, Mahabharata is middle school, and then that is IB level, which is Bhagavatam. You take advanced courses, and then you go to the magnet program. Nothing like that. All are in the same level, but you should always go in the progression because Gita is essence. Sarvopanishado gavaha. It's the essence. It's very tricky to misunderstand Bhagavad Gita. Because when Krishna says, do your duty, don't expect results. Anybody can misinterpret. Why do you ask me to go to some university? Krishna says, don't expect. Anybody can misinterpret. If Krishna says what you're destroying is the body and not the Atma, even a person throwing bomb can say that. See, I'm not destroying the Atma. I'm destroying only Shariram. He can misuse faith. You can always misinterpret Bhagavad Gita. So it is very important we understand the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, Vishnu Purana, 4 quadrant to understand this. Now the first verse itself demands a lot of time. He says, Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva. What are my sons and Pandu's sons doing? Isme kya hai sir? Now there's a tricky thing here. There is one ancient anecdote in the Malayalam language. I'm sure there'll be people from Parashurama's own country, right? Kerala. There used to be a king in Kerala and he used to have a beautiful lotus garden, rose garden. In Bangalore, we still have rose garden without the roses. But there was a beautiful rose garden and he would just love to see the beautiful roses blossom in the morning, receiving the rays of the rising sun. So he was just very, very careful that nobody plucked the roses. If somebody plucked, there would be a very, very vigorous punishment. One morning, the soldiers came running and said, Raja, Raja, the roses have been plucked. The Raja got perturbed. He says, this is bad. I have laid a rule that you cannot pluck the roses and see somebody has plucked. So he said, whoever has plucked, he should be guillotined like the times of the French Revolution. The judgment was written. Then another soldier came running and said, Sir, he called, yes, tell me. The one who is plucked is actually your son Keshavan. Not anybody else. Do you know, Raja? So, oh, Keshavan has plucked. So he wrote one postscript at the bottom in Malayalam. Keshavan unnengil kevalam doshamilla kese dismissal. So he said, what was the judgment? The person who has plucked has to be guillotined. The postscript was, if the person who has plucked is my son Keshavan, then this case is not even worthy to be examined, it's dismissed. The point is, if a mistake is a mistake, it should not matter who has done it. But if you are a troubled parent with a lot of partiality problems, you will never ever see the problem in your own children. But you will end up blaming others. Niravadhi guda grame rame niragasi vagasi spurana mushita loka loka vadanti sadantike valatanuhitam validroham managa apasarpanam, says Vedanta Deshika. He will always say he has done mistake, whereas the children do, no. He's just coming up. You just can't blame him because it's your son. When Dhritarashtra had asked, what are these people doing on the battlefield, there were two options for him. He could have asked, what are my sons doing and what are my brother's sons doing? Which maintains that equanimity that he's talking about his family children, his children and his brother's children. Or he could have put himself as a third person. See, if you're used to, especially Astikas from Kerala speaking to you in the local language, which is a beautiful Malayalam language, generally they will never say, I am angry. Auntie valare kovamanu. Aareyanu auntie? Avadanu auntie. She'll say, auntie is very upset. No, we'll be asking, who's that auntie? I am the auntie. She'll never say, I am upset. She'll say, auntie is upset. Aareyanu auntie, nyanu auntie. So, Dhritarashtra should have option 2. He could have asked, what are Pandu's sons doing and what are Dhritarashtra's sons doing? Keeping himself as an administrator, he could have distanced the character called Dhritarashtra from him and asked, what are Dhritarashtra's sons and Pandu's sons doing? Or, what are my sons and my brother's sons doing? He made a combination of both. He said, what are my sons doing and Pandu's sons doing? Mamakaha Pandavas Shaiva, thereby at the start itself distancing himself from the justice that a true administrator has to restore, stating that I am partial towards my children. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka Pandavas Shaiva kim akurvata Sanjaya. What are they doing? Batao. That is when Sanjaya gave a Doordarshan telecast, live telecast. Jo bhi udhar ho raha hai, he said. That is when Arjuna, the first chapter, if you have read the Bhagavad Gita, at least 10 shlokas will go, this man blew that conch, this man blew that conch. Panchajanyo, Hrishikeshav, Devadattau, Dhananjayo, because each conch had a name. See, in those days, even Ayudhams will be given a name. Like how we give names to all our pets. Right? Earlier, now I've corrected myself a lot and I've elevated myself as a better human being. In the earlier days when I used to go and ask some houses, how is your dog? They'll get offended. Don't call her dog. Her name is Janki. So how will I know her name is Janki? Then I have to ask, how is Janki? They'll feel so good. And their daughter will be called Juju. So, at times, your Purva Janma Karma, the pets will have better names than their own children. So, here, Krishna's Ayudham, which is conch, was called Panchajanya. Each conch, it had its name. So they blew the conch. See, in the 18 Vadyams, Vadyam is an instrument. 18 Vadyas that Shastram talks about for good auspicious sound. Conch is one. If you go to the state of Vangadesham, Vangam in Sanskritam is Banga, which is Bengal. During the Aradhana Krama, they will blow the conch. But in Tamil Nadu, there is a Viparitartha. They will say, Sanguji first. Yeah. So Shankham is both an instrument, which is a Vadyam, a musical instrument, and a weapon. It is a weapon as well, because in Panchayudham you take Panchajanya. So they blew their conch, which means the Yuddham had to begin. 1, 2, and 3. That is when Arjuna said, Krishna, my Gandivam is coming from my shoulders. Krishna asked, is it loose? No. Yeah, something has to come down, it has to be loose. Kya hua Arjun? Batao? Arjuna said, see, opposite me are people whom I've literally grown up with. They're all my brothers here standing my Acharya. Krishna said, even before Yuddham, they were your brothers. Did you remember their relationship only after the Yuddham? See, an example given by the commentator is, imagine there is a surgeon. The surgeon is used to good surgeries. He's been extremely successful. And as a patient, I've got my entire body tested and I've got a big report in front of me. I go to the medical practitioner. Those few minutes when the medical practitioner has to give his initial comments, we will be on pins and needles. So the person will go through. Yeah. Everything looks fine. Tomorrow you need an open heart surgery. What? Get admitted now. So we are admitted and we pray to all the deities and we call the advocate as well for the will process. So everything is done. The next morning I'm taken to the theatre. I'm taken to the operation theatre. I'm put on the laid on the table. The instruments are ready. The surgeon comes. And apparently the surgeon happens to remember the previous day lecture, which was Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha. The payment made for the open heart surgery is all done. I've received the invoice on my WhatsApp. Everything is done. Payment is made, non-refundable. And this surgeon says, oh, Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha, please excuse me. I just can't hurt you. It's wrong to hurt you physically. I'm really sorry. Best wishes if you survive. Thank you so much. And he leaves. What will I do? I'll run behind him. I will pay him more and I say, please cut me open. So I pay. I volunteer for the surgeon to cut me open. So like a surgeon who mistakenly remembers a non-violence on the surgery table, Arjuna as a Kshatriya is remembering that they are all O positive. He remembers. And the person has finally got a Rajya Sabha seat. So he says, this is like, why? Then Krishna says, what should I do, Arjuna? That is when he says, Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha prichhami tvam dharma sammudha chetaha yat shreyasyan Nishchitam bruhitam me sishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Krishna, take me as your student when on the battlefield. You have missed all your tutorials. On the sishyasteham, main shishyu hu. Mujhe shishya le lijiye. Krishna said, when are you asking Arjuna? We have to fight now. Everybody is ready. What should I do? Ratham sthapaya mechuta. Go keep the chariot in the middle so that I can see both sides equally, like Solomon Papaya. I have to see both sides. So Krishna takes. Then Arjuna says, they're all my relatives, how can I fight? What Krishna should have done? Ideally, he should have stood up, looked through those eyes that look like 1,000 suns melted together during Narasimha Avataram. Sata Patala Bhishane Sarabhasa Attahaswad Bhate fight. He would have fought. He should have said fight. That 1 second of Narasimha Avataram in the eyes of Krishna would have brought this man on pins and needles and he would have fought. Krishna said, okay, Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, Bhakti Yogam, 3 gunas, Sthita Pragyata. Arjuna forgot what he asked. मैंने पूछा था कि युद्ध करना है कि नहीं? You are telling कर्म योगा, ज्ञान योगा, भक्ति योगा. Arjuna, Krishna, ये क्या हो रहा है? That is why I told you, Krishna was waiting for the mic to be given. That's all. Immediately, what all he knew, he started speaking. So Krishna started speaking. Then Arjuna finally said, "Bas karo yaar. 700 verses, bahut ho gaya. You want me to fight, right? I will fight." Pehle hi bol dete. So this is why the Mangala Shloka says, "Sarvopanishado gavaha." All the Upanishads, Isha Kena Kata Prashna Munda Mandukya, Taittiriya, Aitareya, Brihadaranyaka, Shvetashvatara, Chandogya, Mahanarayana, Subala, Mantrika, Kaushitaki. 15 Upanishads. All of them have been personified as the cow. So when there is this cow, you need A2 organic grass-fed milk. 10 years back, I used to get only milk. Now everybody says, "What kind of milk would you want?" A1, A2. Then there is organic and inorganic. I thought only in chemistry it is there. More than chemistry, even milk has organic. Grass-fed, what else will you feed? Right? So grass-fed, organic, A2 milk. So imagine the cow gives. I am sure some of you who were raised in the earlier days in Bharatam will know that there will be people who will bring the cow outside your house and give you milk, fresh milk. Interestingly, they will also bring the calves. The calf will be given its share, and then whatever is left will be consumed by us. So this question of being vegan will not arise at all, because you know the calf is taking the milk. So when the Upanishads have been made as the cow, you have to personify. Then the calf is Arjuna. So he has consumed the milk first, the essence of the Upanishads, which is the cow. Whatever is left comes to us. Sarvopanishado gavaha dogdha gopalanandanaha. See, getting the milk from the cow is not an easy process. You go, it will kick you. You should be extremely adept. First you have to apply oil in its udders, and then you will have to wash it and then start churning. You should have a very good relationship with that cow. Else that cow will not give you milk. So it knows when to stop. So that lactation process, when the milk comes, that milk is being consumed. Sarvopanishado gavaha dogdha gopalanandanaha partho vatsaha. The first calf was Partha. Sudhihi bhokta. Whatever milk was left, dugdham gitamritam mahat. In that, Krishna stands. Now, how is Bhagavad Gita distributed? 700 verses in 18 chapters. Chapter 1 to chapter 6 is about Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So it's called Prathama Shatkam. First set of 6 chapters. Prathama Shatkam. Second set, which is chapter 7 to chapter 12, is called Madhyama Shatkam, which talks about Bhakti Yoga. Chapter 1 to chapter 6 is Karma Yoga plus Jnana Yoga. Chapter 7 to chapter 12 is Bhakti Yoga. Bas ho gaya. That's all is Bhagavad Gita. Now Arjuna had questions from chapter 1 to chapter 12. He said, "Krishna, you went at a great speed. I couldn't understand. Now I have questions." Those questions about chapter 1 to chapter 12 were asked from chapter 13 to 18. So chapter 13 to 18 is a question and answer session. So this is how Bhagavad Gita is distributed. Now Krishna first talks about Karma Yoga. So when he talks about Karma Yoga, he talks about the presence of an Atma. Now that itself is a problem. We keep telling Atma, Atma, Atma. Have you seen? I have not seen. How will we derive? Everybody says, Jivatma hai, Paramatma. All that is fine. Where is Jivatma? Now we are all in that scientific world where we want proof. Right? That is why in most movies what they will do when Bhagavan kills someone, immediately that Atma will go like one light. Have you seen that light? Toing, toing, there will be A.R. Rahman will give one background music, it will go. See, Atma will not go like that, because Vedam says that what is the size of an Atma? Vedas ask, what is the size of an Atma? Shatadha, Shatadha, Shatadhatya kalpayati. This Vedavakyam, which is, for a desi cow, its pucham, tail will have a bunch of hair. Take one strand of hair of the cow's tail and divide it into 100 equal parts. So one part size will be 1 by 100, correct? Simple maths. That one part which is 1 by 100, you have to divide it into a further 100. In that one part will be 1 by 100 by 100, 1 by 10 power 4, which will become 10 power minus 4. Right? Micro, femto, atto. That is how we derive. Now you have to take one part out of it again and then divide it into 100 parts. So you get 1 by 100 by 100 by 100, 1 by 10 power 6, 10 power minus 6. Vedam says that is the size of a Jivatma. Then where will you see that light? See, don't get mesmerized or taken away by these movies. They are doing a good job, but our jnanam should come from the scriptures. Let us not make it very, very VFX based religion. That Atma will have a Sukshma Shariram. So even if you get your open heart surgery without anesthesia on the monitor, you cannot see the Jivatma. Okay? So forget that. Now how do we believe in that Atma? Because we believe in two theories. Shariram is different, Atma is different. Shariram is perishable, Atma is Nityam. Then we believe in the theory called karma. Correct? Whether we believe Western world believes or not, they use the word, this is karma. Right? They say the word karma. So the karma has come into our lingo. But what is karma? See, this is where we have to go one step deeper to understand what Krishna says. Because Krishna has given the gist. He is assuming, see, most of our physics books, they will write one line. As discussed in the previous chapters. So the author is making an assumption that we would have studied the previous chapters. What if we are studying only this chapter? Right, so Krishna is also making an assumption that we would have studied a lot of things in Vedanta before coming here. If you take up Bhagavad Gita alone and then you say karma, how will you understand? The best example, which is given in an Adhikaram of Brahma Sutras, is called Rachanatyutpatti. There I'll give you an example. Today, if a person who's 40, 45 goes for a blood test, then they test and the doctor says, congratulations, you may have to start taking metformin. You're also diabetic. So the person is extremely happy, for this is the only asset he has bequeathed from his parents. So he's diabetic. So the person is given metformin, vildagliptin, whatever. Then the family will start investigating what could have caused a diabetes mellitus in this person. They'll say, oh, you're having too many sweets these days. You're sleeping late night. You are not exercising. You are not walking. You don't have Fitbit. 10,000 steps is not done. All these reasons will be given. So, if a person has bad sugar levels at the age of 40, 45, you can always say your diet is not good. You've been exercising. There's a lot of stress at work. All of this. A mother and father, a lady and the man, the husband and the wife, who plan to have a baby, extremely health conscious. They won't take white rice, quinoa and brown rice, and it wouldn't be milk at all. It will be peanut curds, oatmeal milk, and so all this, they follow all that Fitbit, cardio, everything they do. No history of diabetes. No problem whatsoever in their family. Their newborn child has diabetes and has to take insulin shots. For the 40, 45-year-old man, we said he didn't exercise, he didn't eat, his parents are like this, that. For a newborn child, what is the reason? Because that is when karma theory comes into picture, because every Atma carries a karma baggage. Else you can never explain a 2-year-old child recognizing 150 ragas. 2-year-old child can understand what is Chakravaham and what is Shanmukha Priya. A 2-year-old child can list all the 72 Medakarta ragas of Govinda Rajiyam and can say, how is Bhairavi different from Nata Bhairavi? If it is not Purva Janma Karma, how will that child be able to explain? Excess memory power some children have. How? There has to be karma. This is where from the product we deduce the reactant. That is when we are forced to believe that there are two entities called Atma and Shariram. Why are we forced to believe the Atma? Because if something is carrying the karma baggage, there has to be some entity beyond the body. And that entity is that 1 by 100 by 100, 10 power minus 6 called Jivatma. This is where Krishna says that Jivatma is non-perishable. It cannot be crushed. Somebody asked, did J.K. Rowling decide Horcruxes based on Bhagavad Gita? Because one is in the diadem, one is in the diary, one is in Nagini. So what is the problem? Because J.K. Rowling might have had this idea, but she did one mistake. She said that the Atma can be divided into 7 parts, whereas Jivatma cannot be divided. Krishna says in chapter 2, you can neither crush it, will neither find, it won't sense hunger, it is not thirsty, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be drowned. That is when Krishna asks, what should I do with the Atma? Krishna says, Arjuna asks, Krishna says that when the Jivatma is in the body, Krishna, you have to do your karma first. What is that karma? This is where Krishna talks about the father-in-law of his previous avatar. Who is the father-in-law of the previous avatar? Father is Dasharatha. Father-in-law? Janaka. So he says, Karmanyaivahi samsiddhim asthita janakadayaha. Loka sangraham evapi. You have to do your karma. Now, again, there is a problem. Now, many of those who are in my generation, in the younger generations, have this question. Why should I do all these rituals? I just can't understand. Why should I do it? There's a question, right? Everybody will ask me prior to the marriage. If there is a marriage in the house, they'll say, can you please come and explain to my children? They'll ask 100 questions. Alia Bhatt says, Alia Bhatt has become the benchmark. Alia Bhatt says, Kanyadan is like giving the girl in charity. She says in the Tanushk advertisement. So, what do you think about Alia Bhatt? If you ask me about Krishna, I tell, what will I know about Alia Bhatt? But then I have to answer, Alia, Srimati Alia Acharya. Now, what all questions I have to answer? So the prima facie Purva Paksham is, we don't understand why should I undergo. Correct? Now, I'll tell you an example. The parents take their little child to the pediatrician. 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. That time the pediatrician will advise that the parents have to consent to give a vaccine to the child. It could be different things. In Bharata Desham, we have different names. It's called MMR, measles, mumps, rubella. Then there is a pentavalent vaccine, all of this. And it could be a virulent vaccine, it could be all of this. There's a vial, and then now the pediatrician will call the child and say, my dear child, this is a vial. And I'm going to take whatever is the serum inside it, and I'm going to inject. And you know what? Your body is going to react. Immediately you'll have the entire immune system react, and then, does he explain all this to the child? No. Choo-choo. One prick over. Next. Just because the child has undergone the vaccine without understanding what the vaccine is, will the vaccine act or not? It will act. Yathaushadam. Similarly, there are certain shlokas which people ask, oh, I don't know the meaning, can I recite or not? Even without knowing the meaning, it will give you phalam, like how the vaccine is given. If you know the meaning, you will enjoy it better. That's all. So Karma Yoga is about doing your duties. So Krishna advises. Then Arjuna asks, is there someone who has done it? Why do you keep telling me? Oh, don't you know Janaka has done that? Then he asks Krishna, you are advising me as if you are a great person. Who are you? That is when Krishna says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. Arjuna, both of us have had many births. Arjuna said, yes, that could be true. I remember all of them, you remember none. That is the difference. Then Arjuna asks, Krishna, how do you remember everything and I don't remember any? Krishna says, because all of my births were avatars. Whereas your birth is because of your karma. See, when we are born, does Bhagavan say, who would you like to be your parents? Does he ask? He sends us into some lady's garbham, amniotic sac. Few years after we are born, we understand this is my mother. Whether I like her or not, she is my mother. Whether I like him or not, he is my father. Whether they like me or not, I am their son. This is how life is. We are not given a choice. If I am given a choice, then I will be the younger brother to Anand. Right? Even I could have had one nice national park and animals. But that is not the case. Right? I am not given the choice. That is called karma deenam. We are born as a result of our karma. Whether we like it or not, we have to accept. If we keep brooding, some people always love to go on a self-piteous mode. I don't know what I have done. This is not going to lead us anywhere. It will not lead us anywhere. This comparison, why that person is like this, it is not going to take us anywhere. So this mentality has to stop. So Krishna says, don't compare yourself with me. I remember all my janmas. Because I am not born as a result of the karma which you are born. I am born as a result of my ichha. I am born as ichha-deenam. You are born as a result of karma, karma-deenam. Arjuna says, agreed Krishna. Now I have come to terms with it. I am a jivatma. What should I do? Now proceed to jnana yoga, Arjuna. From karma yoga, do your duties. Your duty is to fight. You have to fight. With the jnanam, you have to fight. What jnanam? Krishna says that you are the jivatma and I am the one who supports the jivatma. I am there in you. Okay, Krishna, I will do. Then what should I do, Krishna? That is when Krishna says, do not assume that I will be there throughout. Because some of them, we have, I don't know, in the last 40, 50 years, we have commercialized Hinduism. Too much of commercialization. What do? We say, if you do Abhishekam in this temple, your son will clear the exam. To clear the exam, the son has to study. Somehow we have gotten into this mold. I am not being critical. Please don't take me otherwise. I am trying to be as practical and true to Bhagavad Gita. Our relationship with Bhagavan has to be pristine. It should not largely be transactional in nature. The moment we make it transactional, bhakti will go and business will come. 108 coconuts I will bring. For what? Whose head? What will I do with coconut chutney? See, people say, I give 250 lectures a year, like this every day. I have 250 lectures in a year. 180 days I'm outside my house, traveling. They are happy at home. So, how does your wife take it? She is very happy. So I travel. So typical questions at the end of the lecture. Some of them will have nice questions. Some of them will have, oh, my son has not been able to do thermodynamics well. What should I do? Ask him to study. See, all this, if you go to Bhagavan, it will not serve the purpose because it is our karma, your action which will yield result. Then where does Bhagavan feature? Now the next question is, if only my work has to serve, then where will Bhagavan come? See, in a reaction, let's take chemical reaction. You have reactants that has to yield a product. The reactants will anyways yield a product. But there is something called a catalyst. Catalyst will not take part in the reaction to give you a product, but it will ensure it enhances the pace of the reaction. Bhagavad Anugraham is like that. When you derive Bhagavan's presence in you, you feel very positive. That positivity in you will help you retain a lot of things. If you remember, some of them during the exam days, now most exams have become objective oriented. Like you will be given a question, 4 choices. But at least till I used to write, there used to be in not less than 1,000 words, in not less than 2,000 words in an exam. So there will be something called the main sheet they will give you. Then there will be something called additional sheet. Then there will be one dwaram inside that. You have to do Mangalya Dharanam to it towards the Mangalyam Tangunarana, you have to type. And in papers like history, the longer the answer, you are a nerd. What if I don't know the answer? That is why the first line and last line will be relevant to the topic. I know the history teacher will not check the entire answer. So what all I know about this world, I will write in the middle. And then there used to be an active to passive voice, passive to active voice. I will use all my communication and written skill nuances to complete the paper. So the point is, when I give my full efforts, in a typical exam hall, if you can revisit your memories, some of our friends will be coming towards the exam hall. The teacher will say, come on, the exam is going to begin. Last minute. Right? Why? There is a fear psychosis in us that I won't remember what I have studied. That will slightly go away when you bring divinity in you. That Bhagavan is there within you. That Bhagavan will give you positivity. He will not tell you the full Schrödinger equation. Right? For that you have to study. So in the last 30-40 years, somehow we have drifted from Gita teachings. Krishna clearly says, do your karma. There is no substitute to your effort. But somehow we have been convinced in the last 30-40 years, you visit this particular temple, for this will happen. Why? Visit the temple for bhakti, nothing else. If that bhakti is gone and you become transactional, going around and around in a temple, 108 pradakshinams, blue blouse piece, you give to this particular... Where are we taking ourselves? We are going away from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, fight. 1. Karma Yoga. Do it with the Jnanam, Jnana Yoga. Then he talks about the vehicle, which is 7th to 12th chapter. That time Arjuna asks a question. Krishna, you keep asking me why I am born. Why are you born? There should be a purpose, right? If we are asking ourselves this question, Naan yen pirande. Why am I born? Main aisa kyun hu? Ask Hrithik Roshan. Main aisa kyun hu? Main aisa kyun hu? There is a beautiful song. That ragam, you have to repeat that Sangati thrice. Main aisa kyun hu? Main aisa kyun hu? Krishna, Arjuna asks, you keep advising me, Krishna. Why are you born? Krishna, that is when he says in the 4th chapter, it is called Avatara Rahasyam. Paritranaya Sadhunam. Now you'll all remember because it comes in the B.R. Chopra. Whatever little we know, we have to attribute to that Mahan. Mekal. You remember that black screen that Chakra will go. Mekal. So, Paritranaya Sadhunam. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge. Threefold purpose he gives, for which Bhagavad Ramanuja gives a commentary. It's a very important commentary. I thought for Jakarta, you are all, I told you, right? They said we are all elevated people. So, I will read out the Sanskritam commentary. I hope you have no problem with Sanskritam, reading Sanskritam, because in Tamil Nadu I keep asking, they get offended. Engalukku Sanskritam vendam, Tamil aduvum vendam. But their wife will visit. The husband will not like, the wife will like. Sadhava uktalakshana dharmashila vaishnava gresara matsamashrayane pravritta man nama karma swarupana avangmanasa gocharataya maddarshanat hriday swatmadharana poshanadi sukham alabhamana anumatra kalamapi kalpasahastram manvanaha prashithila sarvagatra bhaveyuhu iti matswarupa cheshtitavalokan alapadidhanena tesham paritranaya tad viparitanam vinashaya cha shikshanasya vaidika dharmasya mad aradhana rupasya aradhya swarupa darshanena tasya sthapanaya cha deva manushyadi rupena yuge yuge sambhavami krita tretadi yuga visesha niyamaha api nasti ityartha. Is the commentary. What does Ramanuja say? He has one nice take. When Krishna says paritranaya sadhuna, What will the English translation by ask perplexity tell us? To protect the good. Paritranaya sadhuna, to protect the good. Vinashaya cha dushkritam, to annihilate the evil. Dharma samsthapanarthaya, to restore righteousness. Sambhavami yuge yuge, and born again and again. This is the translation. Now there is a problem here. In Bhagavad Srishti, if we treat everybody as children of Bhagavan, is there something called evil? See, Ravana is also the child of Bhagavan. Hiranyakashipu is also the child of Bhagavan. See, in Sanatana Dharma, there is nothing specifically called evil. Western religions have this, God and Saturn. But in Sanatana Dharma, everything is under Bhagavan. Then how can you call somebody evil? One. Second, through Prahlada Charitram, what do we say? When he broke that pillar, Narasimha emerged. Stambhe ghattayato hiranyakashipo karnau samachurnayanna gurnaj jagadanda kunda kuharo ghorastava bhudravaha shuttvayam kiradaitya raja hridaye purvakadapyashtutam kampak kaschana sampapada daidosma amboja bhuvishtara. Narasimha king. He came out of the pillar. What does that prove? That Bhagavan is there everywhere, correct? What were you told in the Tamachitra Katha? Moral of the story, God is there everywhere. If God is there everywhere, why should he be born? See, only if you are atomic in nature, that is, you are positioned in Jakarta. Suppose I am in Jakarta now. My brother is getting married in Bombay, Matunga. Then I have to catch one Garuda, Indonesia, fly to Singapore airport, spend 3 hours there. Then I have to take another airport, arrive in T2 Bombay, then I have to take a black color cab and then go to Matunga. Why? Because I am stationed in Jakarta. But if I am there everywhere, I don't have to travel. If Bhagavan is there everywhere, which Narasimha Avataram proves, then why should he be born? First question. Second, many children ask me this question, why sir? Why do all gods carry weapons? See, Vishnu has one Chakram and Gada. Shiva has one Trishulam. Kartikeya has one spear. All of them have weapons. Right? In the US, Second Amendment is there. Now what do we do? So, why do gods carry weapons? Second, these are all questions. All this will be answered in this shloka. Third, if we believe all are children of God, then Krishna says, Vinashaya cha dushkritam. I kill the evil. There is nothing called evil, then how can he kill? All this is answered in this shloka. Bhagavan's objective is never to kill someone. That we have to take away from our mind, because all our scriptures we have been narrated only with that motto. There was a tyrant king called Kamsa. Kans was troubling everyone. And finally Krishna decided to be born, and he was born. So first Kansa is made the prima facie the villain. So Bhagavan is born. There was a king called Ravan, one of the earliest perpetrators of the Me Too. So, right? So there were 7 women who made FIR on him. Correct, no action was taken. He had that political clout, nothing, no action was taken. Finally, Bhagavan is born. So our basic avataram goes around one particular villain. Then Bhagavan has to come with weapons. Like Terminator, he will kill and go. This is not the motto, says Krishna. Krishna says, I am everywhere. All are my children. So the objective is not to kill the evil, but to protect the good. What does that mean? Even if Krishna is there in Vaikuntham, see, you have to understand this nuanced point. It is not easy to lecture on Bhagavad Gita, and all the more it is not easy to understand Bhagavad Gita. Ramayana is very easy. I know the storyline. Sita Maya Jabarahiti. I can make it more dramatic and make you all shed tears. All that I know. But Bhagavad Gita is a terse topic. So, how do we understand Bhagavan's position here? Now, when Bhagavan is born as Rama, he is born as a son of Dasharatha Chakravarti and Kaushalya. Every moment you see in the Ramayana, he wants to be with his devotee. He will be with the charioteer called Sumantra, a young devotee who is his brother called Lakshmana. When he goes to the ashrama called Shringiverapuram, he embraces his friend called Guha, the tribal chief. When he goes to Bharadwaja ashrama in Prayaga, he accepts the hospitality of Bharadwaja. He goes to Sutikshna-ashramam, Sharabhanga-ashramam, Agastya-ashramam, Valmiki's ashramam in Aranyakandam. He goes to the ashramam of Shabari. He goes to the, gives moksham to Jatayu. He meets Hanuman. He meets Sugriva. He meets Vibhishana. If you see from that perspective, only if he is physically born, he can do this. To destroy the evil, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't need to be born. So the only objective why Bhagavan is born is to be with his devotees. So take this villainous, weapon-based approach of Bhagavan from your mind. You should see Bhagavan as your best friend, not as one person carrying weapons, AK-47, one bomb, who's ready to show. He will cut your head. I'm sure some of you would have heard this. You don't do this, Bhagavan tere aankh ko nikal denge. In Tamil they say, Swami kanna kuttidu. God will do this to you. एक बहुत बड़ा अपचार हो गया. एक भगवान क्या करेंगे? कुछ नहीं करेंगे. He is like our mother and father. Why will he punish us? First, never have the opinion that Bhagavan is always there to kill someone, destroy someone, crush someone. But sir, you are telling all this. Then he should have said only Paritranaya Sadhuna. Why did he say Vinashaya Dushkritam? If he believed only in protecting and blessing, why did he say? See, there is a delicacy in the south of India called Upma. Sune hai? ಕನ್ನಡದವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ಉಪ್ಪಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅಲ್ವೇ? ಅದು ವೀಣಾ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಸ್, ಮಲ್ಲೇಶ್ವರಂ, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಭವನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆನೂ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, ಗೊತ್ತೇ? ಉಪ್ಪಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಉಪ್ಪಿಂಡು కదా తెలుగు భాషలో ఏంటి అది? ఉప్పిండి. ఉప్మా లేకపోతే సాహిత్యమైన తెలుగులో ఏం చెప్తారండి? ఉప్పిండి కదా. ఉప్పిండి. మలయాళం ఉప్మా. मलयालम उपमा. हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं? रवा खिचड़ी. समझ में ना? हाँ. Now I will tell you the recipe. How do you do that? You take rava. First you have to dry roast it. If you don't do it, I'll tell you, whoever is planning to do it after this lecture, if you don't dry roast it, you will get lumps. Okay, husband, mama parman no. Mami Narayani was busy, mama upma banittu. So you have to first dry roast that rava, suji. Then you have to add water, hot water, piping water, and then you will have to get it. Now in upma, the point is upma is tasty. But you know, people who are real gourmets in the house will not eat the upma. After the upma is taken out of that vessel, there is a caramelized portion of the upma that will stick to the sides of the vessel. Have you seen that? It is tastier. The main product is upma. It is okay. That which sticks to the thing, it's a byproduct. It is not the product, byproduct. The byproduct will be tastier than the main product. Main product of Bhagavat Avataram is Paritranaya Sadhunam. Byproduct is Vinashaya cha Dushkritam. But more for us as Bhaktas, what is our focus is not Paritranaya Sadhunam. We want action in our life. Bhagavan has to jump. He has to tear open, shoot that arrow. You know, if you look at the 1950s, 60s movies of Telugu, lot of movies used to be based on the Ramayana, and N.T. Ramarao was a standard Rama, Krishna, Arjuna, Duryodhana, whoever. N.T. Ramarao was a person. But in Telugu movies, there used to be a different approach by the director. Rama will come on the battlefield. He will not shoot the arrow. He will start singing. Oh, Ramana. In Kedaragodam, he will be singing for 10 minutes. Ravana will be waiting. When will you shoot? Because you have to fill. That movie had 64 songs. Lavakusha. 64 songs. Movie with the largest number of songs. He'll be singing. So for us, we want that thrill in the life where Rama takes on Ravana, he shoots, blood should come oozing, and then we will all clap. Correct? But Bhagavad Gita is not like that. Krishna says, my only purpose is to be with the devotees. So what does the devotee require? That is when Krishna says he requires bhakti. Bhakti Yoga features from chapter 7 to 12. Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidhasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam proktam sutre manigana iva. So how do we implement this in real life, sir? See, if a person does not like or love the job they are doing, it will never fructify beyond a certain point. You have to like, when I say have to, it is ideally advised. Even when you study that chemistry, this takes school portions. If you do not like it, even if you score marks, that will never stay with you. See, there's a different thing. You will study and you will get score marks. Scoring marks is not the objective. If jnanam doesn't stay within you, that jnanam becomes a worthless bauble. That is why Acharya says, when you learn from your teacher, some of them remember, some of them forget. Why? See, we often get that complaint, right? Sir, I listen to a lot of things. I just listen to so much, but I forget. Why? We have that problem. We listen, we enjoy, but we forget. Because Krishna says, Taratamyena, the quantum of your memory of any subject is directly proportional to the respect that you have on your teacher. The more you respect your teacher, the more you'll remember, oh well, that man is a jerk. I just can't learn. Then you'll forget. But Acharya Bhakti is not there. That is why Krishna says, Tadvidhiv pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti de jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. Arjuna, today it is okay. You are my cousin. You are also the son-in-law of the house. You are asking 100 questions and patiently answering. But don't go to any other teacher with the same mentality. First, serve the teacher. Respect your teacher. Then after you respect and serve the teacher will say, now ask questions, then ask. Jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. So this bhakti yoga is explained. Now Krishna says, Arjuna says, Abhi bhakti yoga ho gaya. Krishna, then tell me what I should do. Krishna says, see, in my Srishti, Arjuna, there are two kinds of people. One with divine qualities called devas. People with demoniac qualities called asuras. Arjuna says, I have a question. Krishna asked, what is that question? Who am I? Am I a deva or an asura? Krishna says, you are a deva. Arjuna felt, oh, I'm elated. But Krishna, how did you decide that I'm a deva? Because had it been an asura, I've been lecturing for the last half an hour. Had it been an asura, he would have killed me. But you have been patiently listening for the last half an hour, so you must be a deva. So Krishna explains. Now Arjuna is a lot confused. See, the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is, when you listen to it, every time you listen to it, it will appear as if you can understand. But towards the end of it, you will be in the same state as what you were in the start of the lecture. आज क्या बोल रहे थे? हाँ, जो भी उनको पता था सभी बोल रहे थे. He was just telling a lot of things. It was all about Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Patanjali Yoga, Baba Ramdev, and so many other things. What yoga? Right, so Bhagavad Gita will always know. Arjuna was also in that state. So he said, Krishna, you said so many nice things. I just loved the way you said. It's great. But what should I do? अभी मुझे क्या करना है? वो सिर्फ बताओ. Answer to the question. Don't go beyond that. Krishna said, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Now Arjuna asked, what is this Sarva dharman parityajya? See, there are two types of karma. We have to understand. See, if you understand these small basic points in philosophy, I think whenever you are learning from an acharya, it will become easy. There are two types of jnana, two types of karma. What are the two types of jnana first? Jivatma is like Mysore Pak. You know Mysore Pak? Yes. You know Mysore Pak? That is the gateway to Vaikuntha. It has so much ghee in it that it will land you in Vaikuntha. So that's all. Sakshat, you have to keep the priest also next to you and eat. So, in Mysore Pak, basic ingredients are sugar, besan, ghee. So when Mysore Pak is made, you add sugar. Correct? Generally you make a sugar syrup and add whatever. So you have sugar in it. That sugar will pervade within the Mysore Pak. All through the Mysore Pak you will feel that sugar. But you cannot see that sugar. You can never see that sugar. It is pervasive within the Mysore Pak. After you get the Mysore pak in the right proportion, when you take that admixture and put it onto a plate, you sprinkle some sugar at the top. I don't know if you've seen it. So when you cut it into pieces, you can see the sugar pieces attached to the top layer. Unlike the sugar within the Mysore pak, this sugar has not melted. Can you see it? Why? Because you are not adding sugar to the admixture directly. After getting it out of the stove, you are waiting for it to cool down a bit and then you add. That sugar will not melt. But that sugar is not the sugar within your sugar box because it is attached to the Mysore pak. It is attached to the periphery, but it will not melt. The sugar within the Mysore pak has melted and pervaded. The sugar on the top is stuck but not melted. The jnana within the Jivatma is called dharmic jnanam. The jnana which is stuck outside the Jivatma is called dharma bhuta jnanam. So these are the two jnanas Krishna differentiates. How? This dharmic jnanam of the Jivatma will keep telling I. That is why when you wake up in the morning, someone asks, how was your last night? Oh, I slept well, we say. If we have slept well, how do you know I slept well? Because even while you were sleeping, the I did not sleep. The I quotient, hope I am not confusing like the me. Then I'll have to buy another island. Now, this I is about the Jivatma. This I-ness is called dharmic jnanam. The knowledge which is attached like the sugar to a Mysore pak is called dharma bhuta jnanam. That gets activated only when it comes in contact with a sense object. See, for example, at the age of 2, my grandfather would lift me and say, Beta, this is masal vada. Smell it. So I smell, I look at my masal vada and that gets fixed as a memory in my mind. A year later, while I'm 3 years old, my grandfather doesn't have to tell me this is masal vada. The moment I smell, I'll say, Tata, masal vada. Why? Because that jnanam gets activated because of a previous memory. That is called dharma bhuta jnanam. That jnanam, which is dharma bhuta jnanam, is inactive in a coma patient. That is why the coma patient survives. But if you go telling, Chitappa, uncle, you know who I am? He doesn't reply because that dharma bhuta jnanam is not active. Now, let's come back. This is jnanam and dharma bhuta jnanam. Based on this, we do karma. The karma that I do in this janma doesn't have to yield results in the same janma. If the formula is it has to yield results in the same janma, then a child who's 2 years old and who can relate all ragas and mathematical equations, we can never have an answer to it because his karma should have fructified in his previous janma. Only if it is a carryover, it will reflect in this janma. The karma that I have accumulated over thousands of janmas is called as sanchita karma. Sanchita means accumulated. A small portion of it is taken for this janma and I have to experience. It is called prarabdha karma. Now, as I experience prarabdha karma, what will happen? This will become empty. Then where will the next thing come? Again from sanchita karma. See, suppose you buy 5 kgs of rice and keep 1 kg in a bottle. If this 1 kg rice is over, you will go back to the sack. Similarly is karma. Now Arjuna says, Krishna, if I experience karma, because Arjuna's son was dead in the Yuddham, his name was Abhimanyu. So Arjuna asks, if my karma is what I've experienced now, what will happen to my previous karma? Krishna says you have to be born again. That is why Bhagavad Pada says, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. See, while I'm a little boy of 3 years, my grandmother will take pride in asking me to recite those magical hymns. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. And then there was a black sheep that distributed its wool. And then there was a brother and sister who tumbled from the slope of the mountain. Achara Shilaha, they wanted to fetch water from a well and they fell. So every time a guest would come home, she would take pride and say, just say Baba Black Sheep. not looking at the guest. So I wouldn't know if he is one. So then I would say, Baba, black sheep, have you any wool? And those magical hymns that will yield lot of punyam for me was made to recite while I was 3 years old. Then I go to my nursery, I finish my kindergarten, I go to my elementary school and I learn about Shruti system and root system and give all my exams. And in the middle school in Bharata Desham, I have to learn about great acharyas. Babur, Humayun, Aurangzeb. That will go for pages and pages together. This man arrested his father, that man arrested that father. Less than 1,000 words I have to answer. At the age of, while I'm done with my 8th standard, 9th and 10th, even if I would have flunked in mathematics, my grandmother would say, please become an engineer. So, for the marks that one would score, I would end up getting some Pavada Lakshmi Engineering College in Mudichur Road, Kanchipuram. So I will go there. So will I fetch, somebody will ask, oh, are there campus interviews held in that college? There's no campus at all. Forget the interviews. So I get one engineering degree, and towards the end of my engineering degree, I realize I'm never meant to be an engineer, and then I learned from my distant cousin who still managed to survive that finance is good. So I do my CFA, all 3 levels, and after I get a charter, I realize that colonial literature will be great for PhD, and I do colonial literature. And then by the time I realize all this, intermittently in the middle I get married. And production happens, I have children. And there will be no lessons learned. The child has to learn Baba Black Sheep. Same Baba, same shoot system, root system, then he will get married. That is why Bhagavad Pada says, when the Atma exits, you go to the next mother and repeat the same thing. Punarapi jananam, punarapi. See, whatever we have learnt in this Janma, it will be amazing. We would have done the same thing in the previous Janma. Whatever we have done now. So now Arjuna asks, if karma is such a vicious circle, Krishna, how can I exit this cycle of birth and death? That is when Krishna says, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Surrender to me unconditionally. If I do that, what will you do, Krishna? Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyo. All those Sanchita Karma that you have, I will take it on me and nothing will be on you. Oh, there won't be any karma left. What will I get? He's an Indian at the end of the day. Mujhe kya milega? See, one person came and complained to me. He said, sir, every year I pay health premium for my insurance. I have 5 lakh coverage, 5 lakh rupees. I said, what's the complaint? I didn't use it at all the last year. He feels so bad that he didn't use his. See, he feels that he wants to use that 5 lakhs. So that is our mentality. So Krishna said, I will take away all your karma. Arjuna said, Mujhe kya milega? Vapas mein. You are taking away all my karma. Give me something in return. Moksha ishyami. You will never be born again. Moksha ishyami. He doesn't stop there. He says, Ma shuchaha. Which means, do not worry. So what is the first criteria to surrender? You have to worry. Yeah. So if somebody comes home and I say, do not worry at all. Please take this food. They'll say, I'll take this food. But who told you I was worrying? Right? We say, don't worry at all. I should worry, right? So Krishna says, Ma shuchaha. That means Arjuna had this worry. And finally, at the end of Bhagavad Gita, he says, okay, I'll start fighting. Now come back to Dhritarashtra. We began with Dhritarashtra, right? Now Dhritarashtra asks Sanjaya what all happened. Sanjaya tells what all Arjuna asked and what all Krishna spoke. In that middle, 11th chapter, Krishna shows his Vishwarupam. Divyam dadami te chakshuhu. The entire world is seen in Krishna. Arjuna was flabbergasted. He said, Kichu, generally you steal butter and you are lying. Suddenly you have become so huge. Kya kar rahe ho khana? Mere paas dobara wapas normal form leke aa jao. So Krishna. So Dhritarashtra through Sanjaya was seeing Krishna's Vishwarupa. Everything is done. That's all. No, Sanjaya said, done. Upadesh ho gaya. Dhritarashtra asks, who will win? See, this man has shown Vishwarupa. Sanjaya has said, when I visited Dwaraka, 100 dead bodies were lying on the bed. You know, some people are incorrigible, irreparable, irreversible. So Dhritarashtra asks, who will be? Sanjaya receives salary from this person. So however foolish he is, he has to give an answer. So, but there is a nuanced way of speaking. You know what Sanjaya says? Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Wherever there is the man who is the king of Yoga Shastra. Yatra Yogeshwara. He is not a normal yogi. Yogeshwara. Ishvara, the one who has controlled his senses. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna. Wherever Krishna, the king of yogic sciences, is. Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha. Wherever the man, the best of archers is Arjuna. Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir. There in that side lies victory. Won't Dhritarashtra get angry? What do you mean? They mean to say that my children will lose? He'll ask, right? Intelligently, you know what Sanjaya said? Dhruvanitir matir mama. This is what my elders have told me. See, you go ask in certain houses. Do you, those of you who follow the Indian traditions, in Dakshina Bharatam, during the Sharan Navaratri, during the autumnal 9 days, there is a paddhati of keeping dolls in the house. It is called Golu. Have you heard of Golu? Have you been invited to Golu? So here we have one famous person for Golu. Right? So for Golu you go. You ask certain families of the same parampara, do you keep Golu? They'll say no. My mother-in-law said no. They'll say, my mother-in-law said no. Oh, where is mother-in-law? She's dead. See, you can always attribute to something to your family member who's dead. Have you noticed that? Mamiya solluta. Venda anta mamiyarike sette putta. Mamiyare illa. Appadane solradhu. So, do you recite Vishnu Sahasranam? That also my mother-in-law said don't say. So, you always attribute something which is not so comfortable to the other person to somebody dead. Sanjaya says that Dhruvanitir matir mama. Because he says wherever Krishna and Arjuna is, there will be victory. He should have stopped with that. He said, no, this is what my elders have told. Where are your elders? They are all gone in the last floods. In tsunami, they were all dead. So, this is the essence. So, the Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Krishna and... But the first verse is of Dhritarashtra. Last verse is Sanjaya. Correct? See, if it is a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, it should be only them. It is opening with Dhritarashtra's question, ending with Sanjaya's question. Why? That's another question the commentator asks. In the 1960s, in South Africa, there used to be a beautiful location to mine blue jacket diamonds. See, in diamonds, you have something called blue jacket. Now you don't get that frequently. So, traditionally, 1960s in Dakshina Bharatam, it was a paddhati that when the daughter is getting married, parents will make 7 stoned pair of diamond studs for their daughter. But diamond alone, unlike Rajatam and Swarnam is gold, AU, aurum in Mendeleev's periodic table. Silver, AG, Argentum. Unlike gold and silver, diamond alone, people used to check if it yields good results in the house. You won't buy diamonds just like that. Good things have to happen in the house, then only you will keep the diamonds. So what they used to do traditionally is, they will buy a bunch of 14 diamonds from the person, the diamond merchant, and would place it in the house for one paksham, from Purnima to Amavasya, or Amavasya to Purnima, which is called Krishna Paksham, Shukla Paksham. One Paksham you have to place the diamonds in one corner of the house. Then the next 15 days you have to see how the outcome of things are in the house. Suppose somebody gives you 2 passes to Coolie movie. That means you can keep the diamonds. Good omen. Somebody, you got 2 tickets to Coolie. Suppose somebody says, please come for Bhagavad Gita lecture. You have to give the diamonds. Not a good omen. Gita lecture. To give that. No sir, they called me for Gita lecture. These diamonds have not given me good yield. You have to give that. So these diamonds, after, people, It was the economic status was not very high in the 1950s, 60s. They had very many children, cheaper by the dozen. They will have 6 children. At times, the parents will themselves forget how many they have. So there will be 6 daughters, 5 sons, 5 daughters. So they used to have a big family. That is why the attention to detail was also not much. Even if the child would just get angry with the parents, they were okay with it. If the son says, I'm not going to speak to you, don't speak, I have 10 more left. Now we have only 1 or 2. If that son says, I'm not talking to you, the parents literally fall at the feet. Do sharanagati. We fall. Because there is only 1 or 2. You are dependent on them, so they know their value. So they can always, in those days, 10 or 11 children, if you are angry, go. Whoever wants to go, go. So, after making the pair of diamond studs, blue jacket diamond studs, they will keep it inside a box. Typically you'll get one small box, you open, flip that, you can keep those 2 diamonds. They will not keep it just like that. That box with the diamond studs, blue jacket diamond, will be kept inside one small purse. Babu Jewelers, North Usman Road, Chennai 13. That purse will be kept inside a side locker. I don't know if you know the typical iron bureaus, cupboards. There will be one locker, and inside that locker there will be one side locker. You remember? You have to keep that purse within that side locker, and there will be one small opening. You have to close that. Then you have to lock that locker. There will be, generally they believe that if you put Narasimha's photo over that locker, the thief will not have the necessary instruments. So there will be one Lakshmi's photo, Narasimha's photo, Krishna's photo. There will be a lot of photos. This is the biggest security system to that. Then you close. Then the main door of that locker will be closed. That key will be, and that key will be in the Janeyu of that man. Then that iron cupboard will be inside the room, and that room will have a door, and then you will put that Godrej lock. Then the main door will have one lock, and there used to be a gate called collapsible gate, if you've heard of it. That gate, you have to pull it, and then you'll have to put another lock. Then outside there will be a gate, for that there will be a lock. I remember my grandmother's house, every night they will put 11 locks. The thief will have the toughest portion in his life to come inside this house. 11 locks he has to break. Why? All these locks are meant to protect the pair of blue jacket diamonds. So the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna is like the blue jacket diamonds. Dhritarashtra's question and comment and Sanjaya's reply is like the box. So that is why the conversation has been kept into a box called Dhritarashtra's verse and Sanjaya's answer. So when you open, you see this conversation. All this, see, Bhagavad Gita has been commented upon in Sanskritam by 127 acharyas. In those days, to call yourself an acharya, you have to comment on Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutras and Upanishad. Then only you can call yourself an acharya. So Bhagavad Gita was the benchmark for most acharyas, how you have to interpret it. 127 commentaries on one conversation. Krishna and Arjuna spoke simply. If Krishna was there, even he will get flabbergasted looking at the commentaries. Simple bola tha, ye log kitne likhte hain, tippani kiye hain. You know how much they have written. I spoke 2 lines, this man has written 40 lines. That is the depth of the commentary in Bhagavad Gita. But Bhagavad Gita has a lot of practical things that we can deal with. The way we deal it professionally. The way we take our personal life. Everything Bhagavad Gita will have some recommendation. When you read the Bhagavad Gita, you will be able to relate to it at different stages. You read this as an unmarried man or a woman, you will get one lesson. You read the same Bhagavad Gita after you're married, you will derive some lessons. The same Bhagavad Gita after you produce children, it will. See, I'll tell you a simple thing. People generally ask, when did you begin lectures? Standard answer I'll have. During my college days, I gave lectures because I generally like Ramayana, Bhagavad Gita. Not that people will expect answers like one day I was sleeping and Vishnu came with 4 hands, tapped on me, and I rose. I have no such story. I gave, I learned, I delivered lectures. Some of them liked it, some of them did not like it. As simple as that. So in my college days, when I used to give lectures, we had this thermodynamics, Bernoulli equation and all of that. Amidst that, I'll give one lecture for a semester. So I was the organizer. So I had to type one poster and take it to my dean in Pilani campus, and he'll look at the poster and he'll say, fine. Then I had to take 4-5 Xerox photocopy of it and then go behind one student mess after the other in my campus and stick it. I used to do because I used to like Ramayana lectures, nothing more than that. Nothing that Bhagavan came and told me, you tell. Simple, I liked, I spoke. I went and I used to stick. But then for my lectures, barely 5 people would come, 5 students. Then I used to ask them, I called that friend as well. Then I used to ask him, didn't you see? He used to say, no, that poster was not to be seen. I used to wonder because I stuck the poster, I did not delegate. Then the next time when I stuck the poster, I stayed for some time. There was one boy from another discipline, and he used to, from another discipline, whether the discipline was in him is another question. So he used to come and tear the poster. Then I went up to him and asked, why do you want to tear the poster? We have nothing that went wrong between the both of us. Why do you do it? He said, no, this is an engineering college. Why do you have to say such rotten things about the Ramayana, the Mahabharata? I left it. Why will I convince that man? 3 years back, he was my organizer for my lectures in Australia. He organized my lectures. How? Because when you have your family, when you have your children, automatically you will start wanting lessons from something that can give you some solace. That is when Bhagavad Gita will come into picture. See, Arjuna never was taught Bhagavad Gita by Krishna in his younger days. Arjuna's wife Draupadi was humiliated in her periods, menstruation. She was pulled in the sabha, humiliated. They went for 12 years of exile, 1 year of Ajnatavasam. Lots of problems he had to undergo. Then when he was seeking solace, came Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has to be that solution at different stages. See, now I'm speaking, I've spoken on Bhagavad Gita when I was unmarried. I've given a lecture on Bhagavad Gita in Bombay once, in Vikhroli, while I was married. Now I am the father. Every time I approach Bhagavad Gita, there is a difference. Because Bhagavad Gita has not changed. I have changed. So Bhagavad Gita is that which is applicable all throughout. Some certain styles will not be, in early 2000s, there used to be a pant called 6 pockets. Throughout the pant there will be pockets. Nothing to keep inside, but you will have pockets. But that style is gone. Then there will be one, people used to keep wearing pants and then it used to get worn out. Then worn out jeans became the fashion. You buy it with apertures. See, you don't make those apertures after you get it. The more it is torn, the higher the value it is. Right? So each will have its own value. But Bhagavad Gita is not like that. Though the fashion keeps changing, Bhagavad Gita will remain constant. So whenever you listen to Gita or approach Gita, it is at different stages. And you should have that Bhagavan's best blessings to take the right lessons, draw the right lessons from it and apply. Personal and professional life, and for your gati to Vaikuntham, for dharma, artha, kama, moksha, Bhagavad Gita is the Shastra. And whatever he spoke on that war field, Krishna just deserves our embrace and loads of kisses because he has spoken so beautifully. Nobody but Krishna could have brought in the essence of Bhagavad Gita that way. Last point. It is a paddhati in Hinduism. If you notice the elders, whenever they do something as an offering or gift, they say Krishnar Padamastu. Have you heard of it? Yes. Krishnar, throughout Bharata Desha, Krishnar Padamastu. Why can't they say Varahavatam Arpanamastu, Narasimhavataram Arpanamastu, Ramavatar Arpanamastu? Why only Krishna? Because other avatars are equally important, because all avatars are important. But it is Krishna who said, Arjuna, give your karma to me. I will give you moksham. No other avataram said. Krishna said, give. So if Krishna has asked, that is why we say Krishna Arpanamastu. He raised his hand and he said, give your karma to me. No other avatara said, give your karma to me. So Krishna avataram is the most sought after. Aikakantya avataram. In Bengal, there was a great acharya called Madhusudana Saraswati. He wrote a work called Advaita Siddhi. He wrote the entire work. Immediately, journalists went and interviewed him. Or no? Nation wants to know. Madhusudan ji, please tell me, nation wants to know. Who is that? What is that one thing that stays in your mind after you have written such a mammoth work? He said, Krishnat param tattvam aham na jane. The one thing that sticks to my mind is Krishna's face, and I know nothing greater than him. When Sadashiva Brahmendra from the south of India wrote beautiful compositions, journalists went and asked, again or no? Sir, what comes to your mind when you think of Parabrahma? He said, I see a beautiful moon-faced boy whose forehead looks like the crescent moon, whose nose looks like the sesame flower, whose lips look as if the corals were crushed and pasted to yield that redness over his lips, beautiful lotus petal-like eyes and curly hair tresses, with a beautiful string of pearls adorning his hair tresses and a multi-hued peacock feather emerging from it, with his teeth that dazzle and resemble and are as radiant as the stars borrowed from the constellation, and with a beautiful hiss he gives such melodious music. Mada shiki pincha alankrita chikure mahaniya kapola vijita mukure manasa sancharare Brahmani manasa sancharare. Krishna has been loved. That is why in Kannada, if you have heard of the Bhasha, you respectfully call someone, you say Bandri, Banni. जैसे कि हिंदी में बोलते हैं आप आइए, तशरीफ रखिए, फरमाइए. You know, in Urdu they say that, right? स्वीकार कीजिए, आसन ग्रहण कीजिए. All this is respectful. In Kannada we say Bandri, Banni. Whereas if you have to be extremely colloquial and, you know, how do you speak with children? You say, Baro, Hedo, Kutkolo. When Vyasaraya asks Krishna to come to his house, he doesn't say, oh Krishna, the most respected, revered one, please come home. No. Krishna ni begane, Baro, you come. Why should I respect you? Come and sit here. You want butter? I'll give you. So Krishna has not been seen only as a divine form. He has been seen as the son of most people. That's why we offer prasadam. If Bhagavan is so powerful, why does he need to eat? But we give prasadam because he is our son. So Krishna has been loved, and his words have been revered by so many acharyas. In this beautiful kshetram of Jakarta, I've been given this opportunity for the 4th time by Sriman Seshadri Swami and his family for speaking on such pristine topics. One is Hanuman Chalisa yesterday, which is about a great devotee, Bhagavatottama. Today it is about Bhagavan. Yesterday about Bhagavata, today about Bhagavan. So I'm extremely thankful to their family, to Swami, and to, of course, all the Astikas who have taken the time off. I'm sure we all speak different Bharatiya languages, But like how Krishna says, Sutre Manigana iva, he says in the 7th chapter, Mattaf parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya, Mai sarvamidam proktam Sutre Manigana iva. See, though you have a black pearl, a white pearl, a pink colored pearl, everything making a mala, Sutre, what puts all of them together is a thin thread that goes between them. We all come from different regions. We all may follow different culture. We all speak different languages. But what goes within all of the Jivatma Tattvas is Krishna Tattva. That Krishna Tattva links all of us. We may have difference. I may be tall, stout. Somebody will be athletic and handsome. Each one is different. Bodies are different. That body which we keep preserving through all this, some nice creams and all of that, one day will come in the bottle of ashes. Right? We'll all be sent like cookies. And one day all that thing which connects all of us is that this body that I preserved with some shea butter and all that will come in one bottle. Peripa bottle eduthuko. So the ashes will come of Peripa in a bottle. We are all, this body that we all deem so important will perish one day. What will stay is the bhakti that we have for Krishna. And no other grantha than Bhagavad Gita. And that Bhagavad Gita they have allowed me to say. Because generally Bhagavad Gita means people be worried. Samajh mein aayega ki nahi? Aana hai ki nahi? Jana hai ki nahi? Kaisa bolega wo? Right? So there will be questions. But Bhagavad Gita, if they have given me the right to speak, I am extremely indebted to Jakarta Astikas for staying so patiently through a 2-hour lecture. Yesterday it was 2 hours 25 minutes. Right? Even a Hollywood director will not have the audacity to direct a movie, however interesting. More, less than 1 hour 40 minutes they'll finish. This is 2 hours 25 minutes and you have nothing worthwhile seeing on the stage. Right? Carnatic musicians are very well dressed. You have something to see. What will you see in me? Right. So, but you have all been patient for both the days. I'm extremely grateful and thankful. May the bhakti in all of us continue. And may, through the practices of Hinduism, respect people of all religions. Because this is one religion that is respected. Everyone has the right to practice their religion. Just because we adhere to a religion, it doesn't mean we are superior and the other one is inferior. It is their karma which makes them follow their religion. It is our karma which makes us follow this religion. We should see more of equanimity and equality in people rather than looking down upon someone. May that jnanam come to us through Bhagavan, where we respect every individual and become better human beings someday. With this, I would like to conclude this lecture. Kavita Kika Simhaya Kalyana Gunasharine Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swastif Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubham Astu Nityam Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmanabha prakrityai svabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai shriman narayanayeti samarpayami. Namaskar.
Thank you so much for the lecture, amazing lecture. Thank